the day. Let's take on our Take Note conversation, and it's the International Kiswahili Conference. If I were to attempt to speak some good Swahili, I know some Swahili, but it's not good, but if I were to attempt to speak some good Swahili, this is being described as Kongamano la Kimataifa la Kiswahili. I'll be asking my guest whether I pulled that off, and he's none other than Mr. Ronex Kisembo Tendo. He's the Chief Executive Officer at Africa Mashariki Fest, and these are the organizers of this very first conference of its kind in the country. You're most welcome to the program, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I should have said habari za
asubuhi.
Za asubuhi.
Ndio.
Hey, ndio.
Ndio.
All right. Great. This particular conference comes on the backdrop of ongoing efforts and interventions by stakeholders across the region to work towards inculcating the language use into Ugandans, in order for us to blend perfectly with the dispensation of the East African Community Initiative.
Yes.
I think it's timely.
Yes.
Bring us up to speed rather with what it's all about.
Thank you so much. For starters, viewers must appreciate that Kiswahili has an official status in Uganda.
In Uganda, yeah.
It's an official language and compulsory in our schools, especially from primary and then senior 1 and 2. Number 2, Kiswahili has an official status at the East African Community Secretariat in Arusha. And we've seen on several occasions some of the heads of state, when they convene for the summit, addressing the community using in Kiswahili. A case in point is Mama Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Equally, Kiswahili has an official status. It's a working language for the AU in Addis Ababa, officially. And then at an international level, UNESCO already gazetted the 7th of July every year as the International Kiswahili Day. So what that means is that we need to understand the weight and the importance attached to this language. And as stakeholders, we are pushing to have the UN adopt this language as one of the official languages to be spoken during the General Assembly. Yes, please.
All right, that's a significant push, no doubt. Within the aegis of the conference, what exactly are you going to be working on to ensure that some of the ideals you've spoken about are achieved?
Thank you so much. First of all, allow me to take through the viewers the background to this conference. Late last year in the month of November, the United Republic of Tanzania, working hand in hand with the government of Cuba, organized an International Kiswahili Conference, which happened in the city of Havana, where I happened to have represented Uganda as one of the guest speakers. Okay. And on this note, I thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, and State House that funded my trip. And before my departure to Havana, I engaged His Excellency the President on one-on-one, and I briefed him that in case we manage to convince and persuade stakeholders in Havana, then Uganda should have a chance to host the next conference. So upon my landing in Havana, I was received by Ambassador Elizabeth Musazi, the daughter of our own hero, the late Ignatius Kangave Musazi. She's our ambassador in Havana. Okay. So we persuaded delegates, and toward the end of the conference, Uganda was given a chance to be the next host. Okay. That brings us to why this conference now.
All right.
Yes.
Who will be speaking, and what particular I don't know whether they will be speaking about particular issues somebody should be looking out for?
Yes. Ideally, we are calling this an International Kiswahili Crusade, where we've invited speakers, preachers of the gospel of Kiswahili. And headlining this would be Professor Pierre Olumumba. People know him as a fluent English speaker. Now they are going to have his version of Kiswahili.
I hope he stays true to his form.
Yeah. Then number 2, we have Professor Palamagamba Kabudi, a professor of law from the United Republic of Tanzania, the current minister of Information, Sports and Culture. Okay. We have a Minister, Tabia Maulidi Mwita, Honorable from Zanzibar. We have Professor Mutembe from the University of Dar es Salaam. 4 professors from the University of Dar es Salaam are coming to talk to us about the significance, the low-hanging fruits associated with embracing Kiswahili.
That is right.
Something that Uganda seems to be lagging behind compared to the original 3 founding members of the community, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania.
So it's important, especially to the uninitiated, to understand why Uganda is lagging behind. There is a history to the language.
Yes.
And the ability of some people to quickly adopt, while others are cautious. Indeed,
His Excellency the President calls it a historical mistake. What happened in the between 1978-79, in Swahili we call it Vita vya Kagera, when Mwalimu Julius Nyerere was supporting Dr. Apollo Milton Obote to return to office in Uganda as head of state. Apparently what we study from history is that soldiers who came in from Tanzania and those of Idi Amin here were using Kiswahili to brutalize citizens, and that has had a negative impact on the perception of people speaking Kiswahili. I was speaking with someone yesterday around town and was telling me, Doctor, what you're saying is right, but why should officers choose to brutalize people using Kiswahili? Kuja hapa, kaa chini, fungua mlango. These were concerns. And true, such happened then. But we cannot hold on to that. We need to heal and know that Kiswahili is a language that we have to embrace going forward. I've taken you through why Kiswahili has an official status here in the ESC, AU, and beyond. Number 2, even those in Central that seem to negate the language, when you face reality, we have now a community called ESC, and we are pushing for cross-border trade. Now, with the cross-border trade, you have no option but to learn the language. When a Muganda lives here and goes to Nairobi, maybe to purchase mobile phones or second-hand clothes, whatever they go to purchase from Nairobi, the moment you begin bargaining in English, that already has an effect on the cost price, the buying price of any good. Now, we have seen Kiswahili has so many advantages. And we are saying, since Kenya, Tanzania, and the whole community has taken it up as an official language, what makes us think that we can't heal and move on? We've seen an example in Rwanda. Rwanda was a Francophone country. When they joined the community, we have seen that transition to Anglophone. Now, Rwandans speak English. They know French certainly, but they have transitioned to an English-speaking language alongside French. When we adopt Kiswahili, it doesn't mean that we are going to negate or drop our own Luganda. Another issue which is also historical is that we are in Uganda, which is the capital and everything is within Buganda region, which has its own language. Buganda is a powerful kingdom. It has its own language, Luganda. We are alive with the fact that there is fear that embracing Kiswahili might do away with Luganda. But that's not right. I've given an example of Rwanda, where they chose to transition from French to English, but the two languages are moving concurrently. So we believe, as East Africans, as Ugandans, we need that mindset change and embrace reality. President Museveni was addressing delegates in Nairobi last year and said Kiswahili is a social infrastructure that East Africans must embrace going forward. This whole idea of regional integration won't be realized if we don't have a common language. There is no integration without a common language. What are you talking about? We are pushing for a common currency as East Africans. We are pushing for a political federation, but nothing can happen when we don't have one language as a community. Last month in Feb, we were in Addis Ababa when there were these AU Commission chair elections. You see a lot of confusion. You have heads of state, these are speaking French, these are speaking English, these are speaking Portuguese, Arabic, Now, and we claim to be independent. 60 years beyond, we are still embracing a language that was imposed on us by colonial masters. Kiswahili is our own language. It's an African language. And we can only claim absolute independence when we speak our language. When you go to Moscow, Russians are independent because they speak their language. When you go to China, you can say China is an independent country because they speak their language. We are here celebrating and embracing those who can speak English at the expense of a language that is purely African. That's why we are coming up with the International Kiswahili Conference as a crusade where we are preaching the gospel of transition and mindset change. Good. So that we can support the efforts of the state.
Okay. When you talk about support, it's important to highlight the fact that after learning and receiving instruction in Kiswahili across the school system, you spoke about the fact that it's a controversial subject. It begs the question, what are the available opportunities for those that become experts? And that is one of the questions we should be alive to. If somebody has taken time to study Kiswahili as a subject, be good at it, and also pursue opportunities related not only to speaking, has this infrastructure been created in order to allow for those that go through the system to benefit? Because we are Africans and we count our benefits on our hands.
I want to believe that the low-hanging fruits, as I may term them, associated with embracing Kiswahili are enormous. For example, we are in a studio. You are a journalist. If you're a news anchor in English, we are pushing for all media houses to begin having Kiswahili bulletins. And what that means is employment. All the people studying Kiswahili and are in doing journalism will have an opportunity to be news anchors. When you look at those who do sports analysis on different media platforms, across the region, not only in Uganda, you have people doing sports analysis in Uganda and English.
That's right.
And we now need that shift to also have a program. The days of Mzee Mike Areleng, if you remember, these are people, sports commentary. Now, that has fizzled out. If we had young people embracing Kiswahili across all the media platform houses we have in the country and beyond, one, employment. Number two, teachers. This is a language that the entire continent is taking on.
That is right.
If we have graduate teachers in Uganda who can teach Kiswahili, then there are employability opportunities across the continent. 2-3 years ago, the South African government signed an MOU with Tanzania and Kenya, and we saw almost 900 teachers leave Kenya and Dar es Salaam, Nairobi and Dar es Salaam, to go to South Africa to teach Kiswahili. I want to tell the viewers how important Kiswahili is. I happen to have had an interaction with Mama Maria Nyerere, and she was telling me about the 1960s when Mwalimu Julius Nyerere could send Kiswahili teachers to his comrade Fidel Castro in Cuba, and Cuban doctors that we normally talk about and the Cuban revolutionary fighters could study Kiswahili first in Havana and Santiago de Cuba, then fly to South Africa and Angola to fight. A doctor from Cuba takes time to study Kiswahili so they can come here and treat Africans, being able to say, where do you feel pain? You can't speak that in Spanish. So they had to learn Kiswahili. Why would Tanzania and Cuba organize an international Kiswahili conference? Latin American countries, Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, they are studying Kiswahili. We are here saying this is a language for people who brutalize others. That's a historical mistake, and we are here to make our contribution towards that mindset change.
Okay, now in my own attempt to speak better Kiswahili, hii lugha ya Kiswahili iko nguvu sana, lakini kongamano la kimataifa la Kiswahili, where is it going to be held? And
okay, thank you. Kongamano la kimataifa la Kiswahili litafanyika kwenye uwanja wa Uhuru wa Kololo. It will happen at the Kololo National Ceremonial Grounds, beginning from the 13th. This Sunday 13th, we have a special function. We are having a cocktail party to mark the 103rd birthday party of Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere.
Wow.
Mwalimu Nyerere was born on 13th of April 1922. So we shall be cutting a cake in honor of Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, a champion of Kiswahili. And all African diplomats have been invited and have confirmed their attendance.
All right.
But then the conference begins on 14th, 15th, and it goes through 16th.
Okay.
Then on the 17th, all our international delegates will visit Machon Falls, and others will go to Namgongo Matters Shrine, and then source of the Nile in Jinja. And that shall be the wrap-up.
All right.
Yes.
Dr. Ronex Kisembo, CEO Africa Mashariki Fest, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with the conference, but most importantly, throwing light on the need to adopt Kiswahili as a unifying factor in our ongoing efforts for economic transformation. That will do it for our Take Note. Do stay with us.